Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jan Ballabha Girivaradari Gopi Jan Ballabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tirtha Vanachari Jamuna Tirtha Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jan Ballabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tirtha Vanachari Jamuna Tirtha Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Paragraj Acharya, Ashtatara Satashishimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīmad Prabhupada ki, Anantakoti Vaishnava Brindaki, Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Nitai Go Premanande. All glories to the Summit devotees, all glories to the Summit devotees, all glories to the Summit devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5, chapter entitled The Demigod's Appeal to the Lord, text number 47. Klesha Buddhayalpa Sarani Kamani Vifalani Va Dehinam Vishayartanam Nataivarpitam Tvai Klesha Buddhayalpa Sadani Kamani Vifalani Va Dehinam Vishayartanam Nataivarpitam Tvai Klesha Buddhayalpa Sadani Kamani Vifalani Va Dehinam Vishayartanam Natataiva Pitam Tvai Klesha, hardship. Buddhi, very much. Alpa, very little. Sarani, good result. Kamani, activities. Vifalani, frustration. Va, either. Dehinam, of persons. Vishaya artanam, who are eager to enjoy the material world. Na, not. Tata, like that. Eva, indeed. Arpitam, dedicated. Tvai, unto your lordship. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Kamis are always anxious to accumulate wealth for their sense gratification, but for that purpose they must work very hard. Yet even though they work very hard, the results are not satisfying. Indeed, sometimes their work results only in frustration. But devotees who have dedicated their lives to the service of the Lord can achieve substantial results without working very hard. These results exceed the devotees' expectations. Translation responsively. Karmis are always anxious to accumulate wealth for their sense gratification. But for that purpose, they must work very hard. Yet even though they work very hard, the results are not satisfying. Indeed, sometimes their work results only in frustration. But devotees who have dedicated their lives to the service of the Lord can achieve substantial results without working very hard. These results exceed the devotees' expectations. Purport. We can practically see how the devotees who have dedicated their lives for the service of the Lord in the Krishna consciousness movement are getting immense opportunities for the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead without working very hard. The Krishna consciousness movement actually started with only 40 rupees, but now it has more than 40 crores worth of property. And all this opulence has been achieved within 8 or 10 years. No karmi can expect to improve his business so swiftly. And besides that, whatever a karmi acquires is temporary and sometimes frustrating. In Krishna consciousness, however, everything is encouraging and improving. The Krishna consciousness movement is not very popular with the karmis, because this movement recommends that one refrain from illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. These are restrictions that karmis must very much dislike. Nonetheless, in the presence of so many enemies, this movement is progressing, going forward without impediments. If the devotees continue to spread this movement, dedicating life and soul to the lotus feet of Krishna, no one will be able to check it. The movement will go forward without limits. Chant Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vancha Kalpaturubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhievacha Petitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Prabhupada points out in this verse that non-devotees have to work very hard. That's the nature of this material world. Material world means hard work. This material world is governed by Durga. Durga. And that literally Durga can mean hard work, hard going. Durga can also mean prison. So that's why this material world is considered to be like a prison house. It's like going to prison. So it means hard going. This material world is a hard place. It's not an easy place. If you want an easy place, you have to go back to the spiritual world, live with Krishna, where all the dogs live forever. But in the material world, everything will be taken away. There is hardship here. It's not an easy place, the material world. But the spiritual world, everything is easy. Prabhupada said that to Indradumna Swami. Indradumna Swami got to the airport, arrived with Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada's bags did not come, so he had to wait at the airport. So then Prabhupada went to the temple. They had Guru Puja to greet Prabhupada. Prabhupada gave class. All the devotees had a big feast. Right? And then Indradumna Swami, by the time the bags came, he got to the temple and he walked in and everyone had just finished the feast, there's nothing left. So he had to go through so much difficulty. And then he had to carry Prabhupada's bag upstairs, and he walked in the room, gave to Prabhupada. He was tired, been traveling, and then gave the bag, and then he offered obeisances to Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada slapped him on the back. Prabhupada said, in the spiritual world, he said, in the material world, everything is difficult, but when I take you back to Godhead, everything will be easy. Srila Prabhupada ki. So if you go back to Godhead, everything is easy. The material world is not easy. You don't get pimples in the spiritual world. In the material world, you get pimples. So much anxiety. So many difficulties. In the spiritual world, all these things do not exist. So it is superior existence. So this material world is a place of suffering. Dukala yama shashvatam, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Durga, it is governed by Durga. Durga Devi. Durga Devi, she is the wife of Lord Shiva. She's known as Parvati. Durga. Kali. She has many names. In India they worship her in many names, she's known by many things. But you see the basic, it's mentioned in Brahma Samhita, it describes Durga. She is there. So, if you look at her, she's the wife of Shiva. So her and Shiva govern this material world. When we see, it's discussed in Brahma Samhita, that the Lord glances at the material energy. And when he glances, the glance is carried by Lord Shiva, who is known as Shambhu. Right, so he carries the glance. And then he delivers it to Maya, who is his wife, on behalf of the Lord. And that activates, everything comes. Because otherwise the material energy is called pradhan. Pradhan means unmanifest, like a lump of clay. Just inert, kind of just sitting there. It's even more inert than that, but it's inert. And the glance triggers it, and then suddenly it starts manifesting. Just like when the potter puts some kriya, some energy into it, then forms something like that. So he glances at it, Shiva takes it to Parvati, to Maya, to Durga, and then the material world manifests. So Shiva and Parvati, Durga and Shiva, they're in charge of this material world. That's why actually, we were discussing this last night. After Lord Chaitanya, when you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, when he finishes speaking with Ramananda Roy, then he travels south. The next chapter is called the Lord's South India Tour. That's chapter 9, so that's what we're studying now. So then the Lord travels through. Last night we said he went to Bridakashi, one town. He's going down south. He's traveling down at the moment on the east side. And it actually said last night he visited the temple of Lord Shiva. So then sometimes devotees ask these things. Sometimes devotees think, why does the Lord offer respect to Lord Shiva? Actually, as devotees, as Gaudiyas, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we can pray to Lord Shiva every day. It can be part of our sadhana. You can pray to him every day. Because he is known as Kshetrapal. Kshetrapal means the protector of the holy Dham. Specifically, Lord Shiva governs ahankara. Ahankara means false ego. Because what keeps us out of the spiritual world? The false ego. That's what it is, false ego. Because as long as you have false ego, you can't go back into Goloka. You can't get back into the spiritual world. So when you have false ego, that's what keeps you distant. So we pray to Lord Shiva, who is the Lord of false ego, to help us reduce the false ego so that we can enter back into the spiritual world and become a servant of Radha and Krishna and Gaur Nitai. That's our meditation. So he's very important actually. In the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, when someone advances in Krishna consciousness, it's not uncommon for them to pray to Lord Shiva on a daily basis, as the Lord of the false ego. We call him Kshetrapal. Kshetrapal means protector of the holy Dham, right? He protects. Even though we enter the holy Dham, we can get on a plane, go to Vrindavan or go to Mayapur or Puri, but Bhaktivedanta Thakur says there's a very thin covering of material energy on top of this spiritual Dham. And that's what we see and associate with to a great degree. Right? We can perceive the spiritual energy, which is below, but we very much relate to that upper level of material energy which covers. So, one time, devotees were with Prabhupada on a morning walk in Vrindavan, and they said, Prabhupada, Vrindavan is so dirty. There are hogs and pigs and sewage and garbage and smell and pollution. Prabhupada said, you are not seeing Vrindavan. This is not the actual Vrindavan. This is just the thin, unpleasant covering which covers the Dham. But that's not the Dham. It means when you go to Vrindavan, you have to go very deep actually in your consciousness to penetrate below the material covering to actually perceive the spiritual energy. So we pray to Lord Shiva to help us to do that, because he keeps those who are unqualified out. So he's known as Kshetrapal. He is the Lord of the false ego. And it's the false, you can be in the holy Dham, but as long as you're still identifying with your false ego, you can't properly enter the Dham, the actual Goloka, or the Gokul Dham, the spiritual energy. So especially as Gaudiyas, which form of Shiva do we meditate upon? Gopishwara, Mahadeva. That's a and Kundeshwara Mahadeva, Chakleshwara Mahadeva. And when you go all over Braj, he's there. The four main deities in the center also. So at Govardhan Hill, Chakleshwara Mahadev. When we go to Govardhan Hill, we pray to him, please reduce my ego so I can enter into the holy Dham. Chakleshwara Mahadev is next to Manasi Ganga, which is the biggest lake in Braj, and next to the Bhajan Kutir of Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami, he used to chant there. That was his place of bhajan. And it says he wrote Brihad Bhagavatam Rita there. It was a very powerful, important place. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited these places, and Sanatana Goswami was chanting there, but there was mosquito problem. Material world means always some problem. So there was mosquito problem. So he was going to leave. He was chanting next to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is there in the form of Chakleshwara. And they're enjoying each other's association. Devotees like to associate with each other. So when Sanatana Goswami was leaving, Lord Shiva's, what is going on? Oh, there's too many mosquitoes. I can't chant. You can't chant when there's mosquito biting you all the time. It's very difficult. So then Lord Shiva, who is Mahadev, he said to the demigod, now there are 33 million major demigods, and each one has 100 assistants. There's 330 million devatas. So one is in charge of mosquito. I don't know if it's just mosquito or if it's insects, I'm not sure, but that's his portfolio. So then Lord Shiva said, please speak to your mosquitoes and tell them to go away. So that's what happened. Next day, Sanatana Goswami woke up, he was preparing to leave, no mosquitoes. And they say, even to this day, you go there's not many mosquitoes there at that place. I've seen. I never got bitten by a mosquito there. But they say there's not many mosquitoes there. And they say that Lord Shiva, he spoke to them, the Devata. So then, Sanatana Goswami could stay there and he could chant very peacefully. So Lord Shiva is very important for us. And actually Rupa Goswami, he mentions in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in the Nectar of Devotion, he says, don't disrespect the demigods. It's actually aparad. If we and sometimes devotees do like this. Lord Indra fell down. Lord Shiva fell down. He caused problems for Krishna. Lord Brahma fell down. You fell down so many times. You fall down every day in your mind. Count out today, just count today, right? How many times you fall down in your mind to desire sense gratification. And you say, oh, Lord Brahma did this. You know, we sit on the buck. I hear devotees sometimes give class. Lord Brahma, he fell down. And Lord Indra and Shiva caused problems for him. You know, okay, they did something, you know, and some of it was actually under the influence of Yogamaya. That whole pastime with Lord Brahma was Yogamaya. It wasn't Mahamaya. That was just Krishna preparing a pastime. And Lord Shiva is the same. Lord Shiva doesn't offend Krishna, right? Sometimes he might do something, but that's the Lord's arrangement also. Indra was different. Indra just got puffed up, right? And then Krishna just went, smashed him. You want to kill all the cows in Vrindavan? Okay, right? We will smash you. So he just picked up Giriraj. Right? And he said to everyone come underneath. And 7 days, 7 nights, everyone was in ecstasy. Sometimes they looked out under the hill to see what was going on, the rain. And Vasuki, a big serpent, big snake. You believe in big snakes? You believe? This is true? You know how big this snake was? You know, I mean, Giriraj would have been bigger then. It's probably like 100 kilometers or something. You know, you believe in a snake that's 100 kilometers long? There's a test of your Shraddha, your faith. Hare Krishnas, we're wild people. We are. We believe in snakes that are 100 kilometers long. So Vasuki wrapped himself around the hill to stop the water, because it was raining so much, the water would not come under the hill, drown everyone. And Chakra, Sudarshana, Krishna's chakra was just going around the hill at lightning speed, evaporating all the water, so it could not come under the hill. You believe these things or not? Have you seen an elephant go through the eye of a needle? That's why all these pastimes are there. That's why it's all there. Right? Because if you don't believe in these things, you can't go back to Krishna. No, you have to believe there's an elephant going through the eye of a needle. Have you seen it? Is it true or not? It has to be true. If you believe it, you go back to Godhead. If you don't believe it, you have to stay here in material world. So we're definitely crazy people. You know, we believe all these things. The elephant went through the eye of the needle. The snake was 100 kilometers long. The discus goes, burns everything up. We believe all these things. Prabhupada said, even if it's not true, our life is better anyway. So either way it works out. You know, if it's true, we go back to Krishna. If it's not true, we still have nice breakfast. So it's okay. Either way, it's win-win. Win-win's good. Stephen Covey would be proud of the Hare Krishna movement. Win-win. Either way, you get something good. So Lord Shiva is very important and very significant. And so is his wife. His wife is known as Durga Devi. She controls this material world. We can pray to her and to Lord Shiva to help release us from this material energy. If you go to Mayapur, and then you go to Simanti Dweep, Rajpur, where the Jagannath Balaram Subhadra temple, which is owned by ISKCON. It's one of my favorite places in the Holy Dhams. And this is such a powerful place. And now, there's a very beautiful temple at the back of the property for Simanti Devi, who is Durga. No? And there's a nice pastime is there. It's written on the wall. If you walk around, and on the plaques, it tells you the Leela from Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. It's described that Maya, Durga Devi, she said to Lord Chaitanya, said, I don't like my service. I don't like it. And he said, why? What's wrong? She said, my service is to keep everyone in the material world away from you. That's my service. I am Maya. I am illusion. I am Durga. And that's not a good service. Imagine on Janmashtami, your service is you have to stand at the front gate and everyone who comes say, there's no festival today, go away, go and enjoy yourselves. Go down to the restaurant down the road. No, like that. It's not a good service. You wouldn't be happy. Imagine you had to do that all day. So that's what it's like for Durga Devi. Right? She is the devotee, but her job is to keep everyone away from Krishna. So that's not a very easy service to do. That's a very difficult. So she said to Lord Chaitanya, I don't like it. He said, yes, but in the spiritual world, you are Prodha Maya, or you are Yoga Maya. Now that is your original form, this is your expansion. And there you bring everyone closer to Krishna. Because you make them forget in Goloka that Krishna is supreme. You cover them with Yoga Maya. So everyone they think, oh, Krishna is just the member of our village. So you bring everyone closer, not further away. So she has a good service in the spiritual world. In the material world, it's difficult. So you can pray to her, please release me. When I go there, Simanti Devi, I always pray to her, please release me. Please let the material energy not affect me so much. Help me. And pray to Lord Shiva whenever we see him throughout the Holy Dharma. Please help me to overcome my false ego, because if I do it by myself, I'm not very good at it. I'm not very good at giving up my false ego by myself. Please help me. So they'll make arrangements for you. They will smash you. They will beat you into submission. Is it a good thing or bad thing? Join the Hare Krishnas. We should put this on our cards when we give them out on Harinam. Join the Hare Krishna movement. You will be beaten into submission. .com.au. But this is what happens. That's the only way. I was in Sydney the last time Tamal Krishna Maharaj came to Australia, just before he passed away. And Indradumna Swami was there in the class. And at the end he asked Maharaj, he asked Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said, is it possible to go back to Godhead without going through intense suffering? And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, no, not possible. You have to go through. You have to go through. So get ready. If it hasn't come yet, it will come. Just a matter of time. Time is separating you, that's all. Prabhupada said, time is separating the Hare Krishna movement's explosion and expansion. Time is separating you from the suffering you're going to go through so you can go back to Krishna. That's all. It's coming, so prepare yourself. That's what sadhana means. Sadhana means prepare yourself in your consciousness. Lord Brahma says, the Dayabak means those who are inheriting the fortune of their father. Lord Brahma says that we have to keep remembering Krishna in our mind, keep offering obeisances, and even when we're going through all the difficulties in the material world. And one who does that becomes eligible to go back to the spiritual world. You become eligible. You'll get Krishna's mercy, but Krishna's going to test you. Right? Have you been tested by Krishna? Yeah, some. Some have been tested by Krishna, but Krishna's going to test you, don't worry. It's coming. He's going to. Bhurujan Prabhu said that to me, I think I was 24, or 23 even. I was going through Vrindavan, then I went to see him, 1993. And he said to me, he said something like, Krishna will take everything away from you. And I just looked at him, and he said, it hasn't happened to you yet. I didn't know what he's talking about. He said, Krishna's going to take everything from you. And I was just looking, just a young 23-year-old brahmachari, looking at him. He said, Krishna hasn't done it yet. And then Krishna did it to me, multiple times. He just takes everything. And he makes you understand, Krishna makes you understand that it's not your ability that's making things work, it's Krishna's mercy. Like Prabhupada said to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said, I want you to go to China. Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, I can't, because Radha Damodar party is going, and 40% of the world's book distribution was happening by this party. I can't go. Prabhupada said, I will take it all away from you. You either go to China, or I will take everything away from you, the Radha Damodar party. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he surrendered, because he understood. Everything was about to be taken away. If you don't please the Guru, what's the purpose, what's the point of your service if the Guru is not happy? So Krishna's going to take everything away through the agency of Durga Devi and Lord Shiva. They are our best friends. They're going to take everything away. And Krishna will smile the whole time. While you're being smashed, he will just keep smiling at you. And you'll come to the temple and you'll feel like, oh my God, I'm going through so much of my life. And he will just smile. He'll just say, how did you like this? Krishna will just say, how did you like it? I'm taking everything from you. And Prabhupada actually writes, Prabhupada says, when Krishna is especially merciful to the devotee, actually it says in the Bhagavatam, when Krishna is especially merciful, he takes everything away. And it happened to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, tea or me? Right? And then his wife said, tea. Prabhupada walked out. And did not come back. And actually, some devotees said, Prabhupada actually went to one of the Gaudiya months. And he spent about 2 weeks, they said, the devotees said, he spent about 2 weeks in the temple just chanting japa. Because obviously he was processing a lot. You know, sometimes we just think, oh, Prabhupada was Shaktavesh avatar, and no, it was actually, there's a human side to Prabhupada as well. He had to go through so many things. It wasn't just like, oh, it's all easy, he just spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. No, it was a challenge. And the devotees said that he was there for about 2 weeks in the temple. He just chanted japa all day, just walking up and down, just chanting. Obviously processing. Okay, this is actually it, it's come now. I have to give up my grihastha life. Prabhupada said, he had a dream, and Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur came in the dream and said, take sannyas. Prabhupada woke up and he was like, how can I do this? It wasn't like Prabhupada was like, yes, let me take sannyas. No, it was actually different to that. He woke up and he said, how can I do this? So he had to spend 2 weeks just processing the whole thing. Right? Okay, Krishna's indicating to me now, there's no other option. Sometimes Krishna does this to you. Ever happened to you? Krishna gives you no other option? Did you ever have that experience? That happened to me when I joined the temple. That's how I joined the temple. Krishna gave me no other option. I got to a point in my life, I got, nothing else is working. Okay, I'll go to this Hare Krishna temple. Right? And then I walked in and I thought, oh, actually this is what I'm looking for. But Krishna had to close down everything else in my life to make that happen. So he will take everything away. So that's what happened to Prabhupada. He took everything away. And then Prabhupada said, okay, now I have to take sannyas. So he went to his godbrother, Kesava Maharaj, and others, and he said, this is what's happening? They said, yes, take sannyas. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur came in the dreams twice, said, take sannyas. And then he understood, okay, this is the mission now. So we pray to Lord Shiva, we pray to Parvati, Durga, to take everything away. Now in Brahma Samhita it describes Durga, the material energy. Now she rides on the lion or the tiger, you see. Like when you go to Bengal, you see they make what do they call them? They make the temporary forms for the festivals, for Kali Puja. What would they call them? They're not deities because they're just temporary, but they make like they make it out of, you'll see when we go, because it's just around the Durga Puja, and you see when we go, they make these forms out of, they use straw and then they put mud on the outside. Very amazing, and they look so lifelike. The artistry in Bengal and these places, it's phenomenal, what they do. And they build these temporary, pandalas, like the temporary temples and they're amazing. So Prabhu was showing me, TOVP, they made a TOVP out of bamboo and cloth and everything. And it looked like the TOVP, not quite as big, but crazy. Just for 1 week for Durga Puja, and then they pull it all down. Right? It's amazing. Right? And then they make these temporary Durgas. And then they worship and then they put them into the Ganga or like So you see, she rides the tiger or the lion. What does that represent? Victory, right? If someone comes to the temple, like if someone, you see, last night I walked out, someone has Porsche. Sometimes you walk out, very expensive cars sometimes outside. People come, they've got a lot of money, right? Why do they drive that? It's a status symbol, right? To impress upon everyone, oh, I have wealth. So imagine someone pulls up on the lion, rides in. Even a horse, you would be impressed. Someone came down with a horse, we'd be like, oh, wow, who's this one? Right? But imagine, and Jit goes out and blesses the horse and, or blesses the lion, puts the... So then, someone comes in on the lion, everyone's like, whoa, who's this one? Oh, that's Durga. Victory. Everyone knows, okay, this one's got the Porsche, this one's got the BMW, but this one's got the lion. This person's serious. So that's why she rides the lion. It's victory. And then she carries the trident. Trident means three-pronged spear, like that. So she controls you. You see, often she's depicted. She has a asura under her. The lion has it. And then with the trident, she's stabbing or controlling. That's her weapon, like that. So that shows she controls all of us in the material world by time, past, present, and future. She has all of us. We're all locked in time, right? We all get old. You can't do anything about it. That's time. Time controls us. She also controls us by the gunas, goodness, passion, and ignorance. 3 gunas. Right? She has everyone under control in this material world. She also controls us by klesha, which is mentioned in this verse. Klesha. Klesha means suffering. And there are 3 types. We have very good suffering for you. Which type of suffering do we have? We have Adi-Bhautik, Adi-Daivik, Adi-Yatmik. We have 3 types. Daivik. Daivik means from above us, right? Like if you look at the world, like the last 12 months, it's getting smashed. Fire, flood, just everyone's just getting smashed. This is Daivik. Earthquakes, everything. Volcanoes, everything. Everyone's just getting smashed. That is the suffering which comes from above us, Daivik. Bhautik. Bhautik means other living entities. You ever have trouble with other living entities? Who gives the most problem in the world? The mosquito. Right? Kills more people than the hippopotamus. Right? If you go to Africa, hippo injuries and deaths are actually quite high. You don't muck around with hippos. They're actually a little bit aggressive by nature. They're very territorial. They look nice in the zoo, but they're actually quite territorial creatures. So, a lot of injuries, sometimes death. But mosquito is number 1 in the planet, more than any other creature. It kills you. People, you get bitten and then you get malaria or typhoid or something, these diseases, and you're gone. Dengue fever and so many things. Right? So this is Adi-Bhautik, other living entities. And then there's other people who give you problems. You see in the world, like the Ukrainians and the Russians, they are fighting, and where are the other conflicts? In Israel and Palestine, they are fighting. All these unnecessary... The longer you're a devotee, the more confusing it becomes. Because why would you fight with someone? Over what? What's the point? You're just born in a different country, that's all. It's like, someone comes here from India or something, and sometimes even they get attacked by Australian people. Oh, you're taking all our jobs, and then... But why would we do that to another person? That's Adi-Bhautik, give you a problem. Or at school, you get bullied. Sometimes that happens, we get bullied at school. You go to school and then someone says, you are this, you are that. Right? It happened to me. It happens, I think all of us had it at some point. People will pick on you. Right? And then you become a Hare Krishna devotee and then people don't like you suddenly. It happens. Happens. I became a devotee and suddenly, people were treating me different. I'm like, oh, why are they treating me different? Because they have some prejudice against Hare. They feel threatened by Hare Krishnas. Because we're going to take you and teach you to serve God. We're demons. So, Adibhautik, and then I think the most suffering comes from Adhyatmic. Adhyatmic means your own system. Like I'm sitting like this because my thigh is hurting. Useless. The body doesn't even work properly anymore. And then I've got digestive issues at the moment, which they're improving. So, and then my mind, the mind helping the devotees when they come and they have problems. But a lot of devotees have problems, struggle with their minds. The devotees come, oh, this happened and that happened, and oh, I've got this problem. Most of the time I say to people, if they say they've got problems, I say, are you reading Prabhupada's books? Because if you read Prabhupada's books, you won't have so many problems with your mind. It's a fact. You don't have so many problems. Because then you understand. Everything is temporary anyway. Why do you get so disturbed in your mind? It's all temporary, it's all going to pass. Krishna said to Arjuna, this too will pass. This too will pass. Everything will pass. So Durga controls us in these ways. Klesha means suffering, which comes from these three places. That's why she carries the trident. So the material world is not a good place. It is a place of suffering. And then you die. And Prabhupada says, if you follow the 4 regulative principles and chant minimum 16 rounds a day, Prabhupada says, I will take you back to Godhead. That's a very good offer. That's a very good offer. Are you going to take advantage of that? Are you going to do this your whole life? Whole life? Then Krishna will test you. You watch. You watch. You watch. Yeah? How many have been devotees for more than 40 years? One in the whole temple. Don't think this is easy. Don't think this is easy. Don't think it's easy now, but you watch, the test will come. The test will come. So this is the material world. It is called klesha. Klesha means suffering. But for a devotee, that's a good thing, because that just means we become detached from this world, we surrender to Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop here. Any questions or comments? Anything we discussed? Show me that plane. Bring me that plane. Any questions or comments? Where's the plane? Hey, come. Okay. Any questions or comments? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, in the verse Ete Chamsha Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavansayam, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that every godly living entity has their own planet in the spiritual sky, and they reside in their planet, and they're the eternal associate of Lord Krishna. So like Haridam and Maheshdam. So like is Lord Shiva like part of Maheshdam?
Yeah, Maheshdam is not in the spiritual world. That's in between. That's, you have Durgadam, which is here, material world. And then in between, River Viraja, Brahmajyoti, these places, that's somewhere in there, that is Maheshdam, in between. And then there is Vaikuntadam, Haridam. The original form of Shiva is called Sadashiva. And he is actually incarnation of Narayan. And you know when you see first canto of Bhagavatam, and there's all those Vaikuntha planets, there's Goloka, and then there's all the Vaikuntha planets. So one of the Vaikuntha planets is Sadashiva Loka. He's a form of Narayan, he's Vishnu. And that is on the outside, or the furthest part of the Vaikuntha area, the Vaikuntha realm, just before it turns into the material realm. And then he expands when Narayan expands into Vishnu, Mahavishnu, then Sadashiva expands into Shambhu. And the difference is that Shambhu touches material energy, Maya, and Narayan does not. Vishnu does not. Does it make sense? Yeah, so it's like that.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Any other question? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gauranga.